Hello everyone, welcome to the Ewe Girl Podcast. I'm Janine, your host, also known as Yarnandewegirl, and this is my channel where I talk about all the knitting and crafting that I'm getting involved in. So thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to the podcast, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I really love coming on here and sharing my creativity with you all and being inspired by all the things that you're doing as well. Today is January 7th. Yes, because it's the first day my kids have gone back to school since the Christmas break. And I think the last time I podcast, it was before Christmas, a couple weeks. So it's probably been about 5 weeks now that I have done a podcast. And lots of things have changed. I am starting to get into my new room here. As you guys can see, I've got some of the cabinets are all done. And some of the yarn is starting to fill up the spaces, so that's pretty exciting. I have my light in, which last time I didn't have my light in, and I'm very, very excited about that because that is a chandelier that my husband and I bought when we were on our honeymoon in Ireland, and it's been sitting in the closet for about 10 years since we moved into this house because it hasn't had a space in this house. There wasn't really any place for it. So now there's a place for it, and that's super exciting for me because it just makes it feel warm and cozy, and it gives me good memories of Ireland. So anyway, the cabinets are starting to get put together. I'm still kind of like a mess around here, but that's okay. Inventory is happening at the same time as all this, like putting stuff away, and I'm starting to see what I have and get things a little more organized. So I'm looking forward to it. We still have a lot of work left on this room that we need to do. Mostly it will be closing it in because right now it's kind of open to the rest of the house. We won't be closing in the door behind me. That's just like an open archway into the kitchen. But we will be closing in. There's a space to the left of me here that goes into the formal living area. And we won't be closing, or we'll be closing that in with some sliding barn doors to kind of make this actually an office. And then my husband's going to be building me a table for the center. So like a bar height table, countertop height, so that I can sit at it if I need to with a bar stool, but also stand and be comfortable for certain crafting projects that need, bending over and like sewing, or if I'm dyeing yarn, I'll have a space for that. So that's coming along. It's pretty exciting, but yeah, so that's just kind of where we are. That's the gist of what's been happening. I hope you all had a wonderful new year and happy holiday season. I hope it was filled with everything that you wanted and that you got to see all your families, and it was good. So I hope that was what was going on for you guys. I am a little nervous today. It's been a while since I podcast, but my husband's in the other room, so this is a little bizarre for me to be doing the podcast with somebody else in the house and not being able to close a door. I don't know why I'm nervous. I told him, I'm like, don't make fun of me. So hopefully this goes smoothly and everything is fine. But anyway, so that is what's happening today here in the McCarty household. We are, like I said, getting things organized. And again, I hope we had a happy new year, so I hope your new year was good as well. And we're well into 2019. I did come up with a list of all the things that I did for 2018. So I want to grab that because I want to kind of go over the things that I made. I tried to use the hashtag on my Instagram account, hashtag Yarnandewegirl FO18. And I'm going to try to do that again for this year as well, but with FO19. And that was just kind of a tracking tool that I was using to help keep track of my projects because I'm not very good at putting them in Ravelry. I'm trying to be better, but I'm not very good at putting them in Ravelry. So that was something I had heard another podcaster do, and I thought it was a really good idea. Well, last year I only did maybe 75% of my projects on the hashtag. So I did kind of have to go through my Ravelry account and photos of things that I hadn't posted and see all the things that I had. So I'm going to grab that list and then I'll tell you guys about all the projects that I made in 2018. Okay, so let's see. I've got it on my phone here. And there's a couple things that you guys will not have seen because I ended up doing a few Christmas presents. I said that I wasn't going to, and then of course I did. So, yeah, you won't have seen any of those, but I'll talk about them in this episode so that you guys kind of know what it was that I made and whether or not I like the pattern and things like that. So in 2018, I made 5 sweaters, 3 hats, 6 cowls, 3 pairs of socks, 3 shawls, 1 pair of baby pants. So of those things that I made, though, 6 of them were brand new designs by me. So those take a little bit more time. So as far as quantity goes, again, I never feel like I have a lot at the end of the year of the things that I did. But I mean, 5 sweaters, that's a lot. 4 of those sweaters were brand new designs. I mean, they were only 2 brand new designs, but I made each of those sweaters twice. So that's significant. And then a 5th sweater, my other sweater this year was the Swag sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And, you know, I got 1 new hat pattern, which 2 out of the 3 hats I made this year wore the new hat pattern. And 6 cowls, which you guys will not have seen at least 4 of those. One of them was my granny square, well, it was the granny stripe crochet blanket turned into a cowl. And then the other one was the Skelty cowl that I did earlier in the year. And then the last 4 were, 3 of them were Erica cowls. That's by Jane Richmond. I saw that Leslie on the Naughty Knitwits was wearing one before Christmas, and it's done up in a bulky yarn and it has fringe, and it was a super fast project. I think Carrie from the Creative Obsession podcast made that for her, if I'm remembering the storyline. It was beautiful though, and I thought, oh, what a quick, fun, easy present for people. So I ended up making 3 of those. And then I made another cowl that was a brand new design that I gave to my sister-in-law for her birthday. We don't exchange Christmas presents with that side of the family, but her birthday is in December, so I made her a cowl for her birthday, which I will be working on another one and getting that written up for you guys as well. But so, and then of the shawls, of the 3 pairs of socks, one of them was a Hermione's Everyday, one of them was a brand new design, and what was the other one that I made? Oh, I don't remember. Oh, maybe just some vanilla. I might have made 4 pairs of socks. I didn't make a ton of socks this year. It was definitely not a sock year. It was more of a sweater year. Last year, or in 2017, I was very focused on doing like a pair of socks a month and getting my box of socks done. And that didn't happen this year. That was not what the focus was on at all. I kind of lost my sock knitting mojo and, just fizzled out and went into other projects. And then I did 3 shawls. 2 of those were brand new design shawls as well. So that was a lot, I think. As far as the knitting, it felt like not a ton, but with the design process that's involved in that is a lot of work. If you've ever designed anything, you know that there is a lot of process that goes into it. I mean, each row that you're doing, you're making notes. It's not a quick, mindless knit. You have an idea a lot of times, or at least I do. I have an idea, and then I just kind of start working it out, and sometimes you end up ripping it out and starting over again, and sometimes, oh, this looks okay, but it's not exactly what I want, so you'll, tweak things a little bit and keep going. And it takes a lot more time to do that, but extremely satisfying. And these days, that's all I really want to do is design all these new things. There's a lot of projects out there that I really want to make of other people's, but my focus right now is on my own design stuff. So you'll be seeing that in a lot of the projects that I am going to be showing you guys today. So anyway, I guess getting right onto that, I do have some finished objects, a couple finished objects. They do not count in my 2018 finished objects list because they did not get finished in 2018. They got finished in 2019. And one of them is a pair of socks that have been on the needles for over a year. I cast these on last Christmas Eve. So not Christmas Eve 2018, obviously, but Christmas Eve 2017. And this was for the Christmas Eve cast on that Danny does, the Little Bobbins Knits podcast. She puts on a Christmas Eve cast on every year, and it's usually for socks. And so that year, I thought, oh, that would be great. And I started this pair of socks and never got halfway done with them and then just put them aside for a really long time. So I finished them finally. These are the January thermal socks. The yarn is thoroughly thwacked. Color is Wicked, and it is a gold stellina, I think 5% gold stellina and 75% superwash merino and 20% nylon. And it is this really dense cable and textured pattern. I love the way that it fits. I hope that's coming out okay. It kind of looks grainy on my end, and I don't know if that's from the lighting here or not. It might be from the lighting. I'll have to tweak that a little bit, but we'll have to see. Anyway, this is a trial space that I'm working in, obviously. I'm not really set up the way that I want to be, but we're going to go with it. So January thermal socks, it was a free pattern. If you individually downloaded it from Knit Picks, it was in their Toasty Toes collection. You could buy the entire collection as an ebook, or you could individually download each pattern for free. So I think I've told you guys this before. I individually downloaded each pattern for free because if you're offering it for free, I'm going to take it for free. And these finally got done. They were done toe up, which is not usually my go-to sock method. I usually go cuff down, and I think that's because that's the way that I learned how to do socks. I learned how to do them cuff down, and I can do toe up fine. It's just not my rhythm, you get into a rhythm of how you do things, and it's hard to break those. It's like old habits. But I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel, which was different than the pattern called for, and I also did a Judy's Magic cast on for the toe, which is also different from the pattern. The pattern asks you to do like a backwards loop cast on. I'm not really sure, but I figured I could do Judy's Magic cast on and it would be fine, and it was. And then the pattern called for a different slip stitch heel, but I did the Fish Lips Kiss, and then I did up the leg and used the Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off for the top. And I have both. So first pair of socks for 2019 in the books. And like I said, I think I did these on US size zeros. They are really cushy and have a really nice tight feel to them with a little bit of a stretch because of that dense cable and texture pattern. That pattern, though, was extremely time consuming. It has you doing purl 2 togethers through the back loop, which, let me tell you, not not easy to do. I did find a way to make it a little bit faster where I slipped the stitch off and then twisted it and put it back on the needle, and then I just purled two together from the front, and it gave the same, basically it was the same thing. I just had turned the stitch before I actually worked the stitches, but it was still quite time consuming. So I'm glad to be done with those, and they will go in my to wear right away sock drawer. I have so many socks, but some of them are really starting to wear out, and you can tell. You can tell the feel of them is a little bit not so nice on the foot. I have some areas on some of my socks where you can see the threads are starting to, wear thin. And then I was washing another pair of my socks and I realized I had dropped a stitch, or didn't drop a stitch, or maybe the stitch broke somewhere in the washing or in the wearing of the sock, and so I was losing a stitch. So I took a crochet hook and I picked it up to the spot where I did, and then I just took a tapestry needle and some thread and just kind of jerry rigged it so that it stayed in place and would no longer drop. And luckily it's on the leg of the foot. It's not on the actual foot or the sole or anything, so it shouldn't be too uncomfortable. But yeah, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, what happened? And, so, I mean, they get old after a while. Even though you have lots of them, you always have to be making new ones to replace them. And I haven't learned to darn socks. I haven't actually worn through holes through any socks except for my very first pair that I ever made. I have enough now that I think the rotation is good and they last a long time. But you do have to keep replacing them. That's important, so that you have like nice new socks all the time. And I wear mine year round, even in the summertime, because my feet are always, always cold. I have another finished object today, and this one is a new hat design. And again, this does not count for 2018 because I finished it in 2019. And I have not yet written up the pattern. I still need to make another one, but I'm looking at yarn combinations and, trying to figure out what I'm going to do for this next hat. But this is the hat, and it's a two-color. Obviously I made a giant pom-pom too that's quite heavy, and I'll put it on so you guys can see what it looks like. I really like the way that it looks. And it's just a basic, little bit of texture for the color and everything, but I thought it was a fun design. It is based off of a hat that my sister-in-law has. I think she bought it somewhere, I don't know, but it looks like when I looked at it closely the other day to try to see the details of the hat, I was counting stitches between the little ridges that there were, and I was counting rows to try to figure out where they did the color change. I noticed that hers is seamed up the back, and I think a lot of times commercial hats, I didn't see a tag, but it could have been on the inside. I wasn't really looking on the inside, but I think a lot of times the commercial hats that are made will be knit flat and then seamed up the back. And this one I wanted obviously to do in the round, and I think most knitting patterns that hand knitters use are knit in the round for hats, just because it's easier than seaming something together at the end. So I've been eyeballing her hat for a while, and I really wanted to make a copy of it for myself. So hers is like a beige with almost like a rainbowy alternative color here. I did not have any beige or rainbowy color, so I just pulled stuff from my stash. I think that the blue is let me think, Malabrigo worsted, so it's their single ply worsted, and then I think that the multi is a cake that I had I'd gotten from Alaska when my husband and I were on our trip a couple years ago, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was a really big cake of worsted weight yarn, and I've done a couple different things. I did like a little cowl in it, I did a baby hat in it, and I still have a significant amount of the cake left. So I was like, oh, well, that goes kind of well because it has this like little bit of blue, and I wanted the contrast. It's not as big of a contrast as, you know, it could be. But I also have some black and hot pink yarn. I thought maybe I would do a black hat with the hot pink stripes, and then, you know, the combination pom-pom I thought would be pretty. So this one will be coming out. I'm not sure. Right now it's a worsted weight. I might do my next one in a bulky yarn just to kind of see sizing wise, but I'll let you guys know when it's ready for testing and when I need people to do that for me. So that is my second finished object. And then oh, I forgot to tell you guys, I guess you guys know that I was working on a sock design and I finally published it. So I'm going to grab the socks so that I can talk about where you can find it if you're interested in the pattern. Okay, so these are the socks that I finished a while back that the pattern is called String Section, and it is now available on Ravelry. It is on sale right now for 20% off through Sunday, January 13th. There is a link in my Instagram directly to the pattern page, but if you just search up String Section on Ravelry, you'll be able to see, find the pattern. So it has some baubles and a little bit of cabling and a little bit of lace. It's kind of a nice combination of all sorts of things. And then you stop using the baubles and doing the baubles on the bottom foot of the sock so that you don't have, you know, those bumps on your sock in your boot, and you just have them on the leg. But you can omit the baubles altogether and you don't have to do it if you don't want to. The sock is knit cuff down, and it uses a heel flap and gusset for the heel structure. And I like this particular heel flap and gusset a lot. I think it fits pretty well. So I thought I would use that for this pattern. And again, it's available on Ravelry. The pattern is called String Section, and they're just a really fun, intricate, lacy cable design. It's definitely something you do have to pay attention to, but it's charted as well as written for instructions. And yeah, they're both identical, so you don't have to do any kind of mirroring or anything like that. But it is certainly one of those patterns that you do have to pay attention to and, you know, follow along each row what you're doing. So, but I really, really like them. I finally got pictures of them. I made my son put them on and took pictures of him because I couldn't get good pictures of them on my own feet, taking the pictures myself. Or for whatever reason, the lighting, when my husband was trying to do the pictures, the lighting wasn't very good, and so he was gone in the daytime when the lighting was good. So I was like, Jordan, get over here. I'm going to put these on your feet and take some pictures. And you can't even tell that there's a boy feet in there. So those are those. And there's a theme going on here with the color, and that's why I wanted to show these two, because my next work in progress that I am doing is also like this color. This seems to be the color of choice for me right now, and I'm kind of just drawn to the blue turquoisey stuff these days. Oh, this yarn though is Plucky Primo Fingering in the Waders colorway, in case you're wondering. And these were done on a US size 1. All right, so next work in progress is a new sweater design, and I'm ecstatic about this one. So ecstatic. So this is something, I have a sweater, a commercial store-bought sweater. I do a lot of my design stuff based off of things that I, have seen in the stores that I want one for my own, or, I can do that, and so that's how a lot of my pattern inspiration comes from. But I have a sweater upstairs in my closet that has similar texture, but this is what I have so far. And the yarn is Brooklyn Tweed in the Loft, and this color is Tartan. And obviously, like I said, it's very much, this is my color right now, this blue. And I love it. I love how this is turning out. So it's a raglan. The sleeves are basic, just stockinette. And the body has this textured, cable-y detailing, kind of crosshatch detailing. And ultimately, oh, the light went really weird there. Ultimately, it's going to be, regular length sweater. And then I'm going to have a big cowl neck for the collar. And that's kind of how that's going to go. At least for now, that's what I'm thinking. I feel I'm using a size 3. So my gauge is, I wanted the gauge to be not super duper loose. I wanted it to be a nice fabric. I still feel like this, is a pretty good fabric for the yarn that I'm using. But because it's on a 3, there's a lot more stitches on the needles. It's not too bad at this point. I think there's like a little over 200 here, which might be common for a fingering weight sweater. But when it was the arms and everything along with it, it was like almost 400. Maybe more like 350, but still, it felt like it was slow going. But now that I am working on the actual body of it, and I'm not working on the sleeves along with it, it's going a lot faster. And so I've made some decent progress. So this is Tartan Brooklyn Tweed. I have a couple other skeins of it that I got, obviously, I think I bought 6 skeins of the Loft. I went to Twisted in Portland and used some of my Christmas money to buy enough for this sweater. And yeah, so this is the second ball of yarn, and like I said, I'm just past the separation of the sleeves. So be on the lookout for this. I am going to be doing a second one, knitting a second one up in some Ba La Jolla from the shop, which is the fingering weight, just superwash merino. And so I think I'll be doing a second one in some of that, just to have a sample for the shop. And kind of, there's a couple colors that I'm eyeballing that have like a little bit of speckling, but I'm thinking I'm going to go for like a soft pink for the second one. So keep an eye out on that, and I'll keep you guys posted on when I'll need testers for that, and names and all that stuff, because I don't really have a name yet for it. It's based off of a limited sweater that I have, so I might call it the Limited. I don't know. We'll see. They don't really have that shop anymore. I used to love that store. It had such cute clothes for ladies, and they don't have it anymore, at least here. They closed it down. So this is funky, but yeah, so exciting. But like I said, very into the blue right now. It's all about that color. Don't know why. So that is my first work in progress. And then I have, what else do I need to show you guys? Oh, I've been doing a little bit on my Guthrie sweater. So this is Guthrie by Caitlin Hunter. I've done a couple more, not a ton since you guys last saw it, but a little bit, because I worked mostly on Christmas presents, which I don't have to show you guys, obviously. But this is, let me see where the front is so I can show you guys. I'm hoping this will fit. I'm really, really hoping this will fit. So this is Guthrie by Caitlin Hunter. And the last time you guys saw it was probably, I don't have a progress keeper on here, but it's probably like here. So I've done a good couple inches. Excuse me. I think I'm getting sick. So my voice is a little scratchy today and it's a little raw. So yeah, halfway through that arrow, I guess you would call it, that arrow motif is where I was last at. And so I moved down and I've gotten like this tree motif part done. This is done in, the green is olive oil, Craggy tweed, my farmer's daughter yarn. And let me get the cake out for that. That's that one. And then the contrasting color is Mother May I. It's the Yarn and You Pop DK. It's this pinky, I don't know if you can even see, pinky with a little bit of purple and blue speckles throughout. It's one of my favorite pink colors that I've done. I love it, and I love it with the green. So I'm really, really hopeful that this will fit. I'm trying to be better about my color work. I'll be so sad though if it doesn't fit. I don't want to rip it all out, but I probably would if it doesn't fit. I don't have it on long enough needles right now really to try it. So the last time I put it on, it was just at the bottom of the yoke, and I think that it did fit me. It felt a little tight. I'm counting on the fact that it's superwash and it'll grow a little bit when I block it. So hopefully that's the case. We'll have to see. I mean, I know it's not going to grow a lot this way, but it hopefully will grow some this way and loosen up a bit. I know that my color work on the top is a lot tighter than my color work on the bottom, but I've done a lot more trapping of the floats on the bottom. So I have a lot more stretch down here because of that. So as opposed to up here where I didn't trap the floats nearly as often, and it's a little bit tighter. So we'll have to see how that goes. I do love it though, and I want to work on it some more, but again, it's one of those, right now I pick up every once in a while if I'm not sure what I'm going to be, if I don't have like a new design I'm working on, or I don't want to take the time to write things down. I just want to like follow a mindless, somebody else's pattern. It's not mindless because it's color work and you are following a chart, but I didn't have to create the chart, and that's always good. Sometimes I just need that break for my brain. So I have done some of that and it is coming along, but this will be, another while, hopefully. Not too long though, and hopefully it works out. The weight is DK, and I think that the needle size, I think it's a 6 or a 4. Let's see. Yeah, 4.5 millimeter. Does that give me, what is that, a US? Let's see. I can't even see. A 4 maybe. I don't know. You guys can tell me. I don't know. Not off the top of my head anyway. Okay, so that is my second work in progress. Some of the things that I finished, I do have a couple more works in progress to show you, but let me tell you a little bit about the things that I finished. I did three Erica cowls. And I already told you guys all this stuff, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Ignore that. Moving on. I did like 2 or 3 rows on my Shusui Shrug. So I pulled that one out the other day because, again, I wasn't sure what I was going to be needed to work on, or what I should be working on at the moment. So I'll show you where I am. I'm at the sleeve increases, so things are starting to increase a little bit more. It's not on a very long cable, so, but this is coming along as well. So I've just started the sleeve increases. I literally did like 2 rows since I last showed it, but it is still here. I am not frogging it. It is in the works. I do love the yarn, and this is my yarn on the alternative sock base. This one is Mintastic, and this is Koi Pond, and I'm basing it off of the sample that the gal does. I can't remember her name, who's the pattern writer, but anyway, I'll put it with the information in the show notes. And so I'm basing it off her sample because I thought that was really cool coloring. It'll have like a orange-y trim, but it's still here. I haven't frogged it yet. I'm trying to work through some of my projects. There's a couple, which I say that all the time. Oh, sorry, I'm shaking the table. I say that all the time. I'm always like, oh, I need to get my whips out. But I felt really good about finishing those socks that had been there for a year. And I've got some more plans for some of the things that are in the works, and trying to finish some of the projects that have been, you know, hanging out for a while, or at least doing something with them. So the last thing, I think this is the last one, is I didn't show this to you guys last time because it was the Advent yarn that I got from Cat Sandwich Fibers. Oh, wait. First of all, this is the yarn that I used in the hat here. I still don't know the name of it, but I have a lot left, like enough to do some fingerless mitts, I think. That'd be kind of cool, and some multi. So anyway, that was that. I found it in my bag here. And oh, and the leftovers of I've got like 3 projects in this bag, or I had like 3 projects in this bag. The leftovers. So what I decided to do is, so I got the minis. I did the Advent from Cat Sandwich Fibers, and I did the 12-day Christmas Advent because it was kind of expensive for me to do the full month. And I wasn't sure what I would do with all the minis, so I just felt like, okay, I'll just do a 12-day one, and I wanted to get the big skein at the end, and that still allowed me to get the big skein at the end. So let me show you the minis. So this was the first. I don't have them in order anymore because, yeah, that just didn't happen. Once they were out, they were out. So, oh, sorry, making weird noises over here. So I've used about 10 grams. So they were 20-gram skeins, so quite large. And so I've used about 10 grams. This is like a buttery yellow, which you can't really tell. But it's like a buttery yellow color. And I think this was the very first one. But again, I did not keep them in order because I kind of mixed them around to see how I would like them lined up in this project that I was doing. But I used about 10 grams for the project, and then I've got about 10 grams left. And I thought with the 10 grams left, I might do some scrappy socks. I was thinking of some more Harlequino socks. I have a second, so that was one of the projects that's been sitting around for a while, is my second Harlequino sock that I did a while back. I have one done. I need to do the second one. I've been thinking about it. I've had the yarn and the sock like on my nightstand upstairs, just kind of processing it and getting it ready, like in my head, like I need to start this. But then I thought, oh, well, with my scrappies, I could probably make a Harlequino sock with these bits from Cat Sandwich Fibers. Now, the Harlequino socks there's like 5 diamonds that you do, and then you do a heel, a toe, and then you fix up the top. So I think total it might use you could use 7 different yarns. So I was thinking I could use a little bit, some of the sock might have some yarn from the second sock, but they're going to be definitely different and mix and match pair. So I thought that would be kind of cool and a good way to use up my scraps. So if I ended up only doing 2 socks and I have a pair of socks, they don't match, but they go, So, and then if I decided to do another one, if I was just in the mood to do a third one, then I could rotate that third one in with some other minis, and then I would have another, I could just make one sock here and there with minis, and then I could just move them around and use them up, and it wouldn't matter when, with what other sock I wore it. They would all be Harlequino socks that would kind of go together. That'd be kind of fun. That's what I was thinking. Who knows if that's actually going to happen, but that is sort of where my brain is. I do need to finish the matching one upstairs. That's first on the agenda before I start any scrappy socks. But so this was one of the balls. This was one of the days. And then I got this color, which I'm almost down to my 10 grams because that's the one that I'm working on my other project. And this is a light pink and white with some speckles in it. It's really pretty. And then there's this burgundy, rusty color. And then this one's almost like a gray. This reminds me of Earl Grey tea, maybe. And then here's another one. This pink and white. So those are the 4 that I have in my bag right now. But then there was this one. Like I said, I caked them all up, so. And then there's this one. There were no names with these, by the way, so sorry. This yellow with bits of browny gold in there. And then this is another pink one with different tones. And this pink one, just pink and yellow. And then this nice deep brown one. So what I'm doing with them is making a seed stitch cowl, and I'm combining it with some of my mohair. So I'm using my freshwater pearl mohair, which is just a creamy pinky base with a little bit, it's a cream base with a little bit of pinks kind of mixed in. It's very soft, very light, very neutral. I thought it would go quite well, and it wouldn't take away from the color of the mini necessarily, but it would give it a soft halo. So right now I just have that first buttery color and the second one, and it's just gonna be, once I get to the end of all the colors, then I'll just sew it together with a mattress stitch and I'll have a cowl. So it will be 11. I think there's actually, we're only 11 minis, not 12, because the 12th day was Christmas and that was the main big one. But so there'll be 11 different colors mixed in with the mohair, and I think it will be just a nice soft pretty cowl. But it's, again, pretty mindless. Keeping track of how many grams, I'm not doing the greatest job. I'm just kind of folding and going, that's almost about the same length as that one, and I know that one was 10 grams, so I need to switch here pretty soon to the other color. So that's kind of what I'm doing with those, and that will be a long ongoing project. I like the look of seed stitch a lot. It's just a bit time consuming too, because you're constantly knitting and purling back and forth, and you're not really, it's hard to get into a rhythm. So that's what I'm doing with the minis. And then I will show you the big skein that I got with that. And I really, really like this. And I have no idea what this is going to be. But it is called Vintage Ornaments. It's on the Trusty sock base, which is 75 superwash merino and 25% nylon. It's beautiful light blue and red and pink with like olives and black, brown. I like it a lot. It's gorgeous. So I'm not sure what that's going to be. We'll have to see. Might just sit and be admired for a while. So that's all the projects that I have going on. I do have a couple acquisitions. I showed you guys the yarn for the sweater that I am designing. And then I got for Christmas, my niece, she's so sweet. She knows how much I love to knit. She bought me this for Christmas, this Mary Maxim Prism. It's a single ply acrylic. It looks like a single ply. And it looks almost like a gradient blue. So like in here, there's a lighter bits of it. So I don't know what I will do with this, but she was really, really sweet to give it to me. And I think it's maybe a sport weight. So yeah, it's 100 grams, 290 yards. So probably a sport or a DK maybe. But I could do a cowl with this, I'm sure. And I bet it would look really nice. It could be a gradient style. And I think that was awesome. And she gave me this cute little bag that had a sheep on it. She's really thoughtful. She got everybody Christmas presents, that were specifically from her and little things. And it was just really, really nice. And then the other two things that I bought recently were these Regia Perfect. And that's the sock yarn that you can make the perfect matching pair, and it has this like yellow string as like a guide string. I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to use it and how, but it's supposed to help you make sure that your socks start at the same place. But I liked these ones a lot. I saw someone on Instagram knitting a pair, and I just liked how it was stripy up here and solid down here. I thought that was really cool. So I got that one, and that is, let's see if it's got a color. It just says color 07118. It had a name when I bought it at the store, but I can't remember. This is a 75% virgin wool and 25% polyamide. So sturdy sock yarn. And then I bought a second one, same Perfect, but a darker, almost like a gray base and a little bit more muted striping. So might cast on for some vanilla socks again to have on the go, so that if I don't know what to do or I need something mindless and I can watch TV or something, I can do those, because it's harder to watch shows with everybody when I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. I appreciate you putting up with my scratchy voice and my chaotic room, and I'm so glad to be back. And hopefully it won't be such a long wait between this episode and the next episode. And yeah, we'll talk soon. If you are looking for me on the internet, you can find me on Instagram as @YarnandYou, and on Ravelry as Yarnandewegirl. And you can also, if you're interested, check out the website. It's yarnandyou.com. I sell yarn there, obviously, and some project bags. And if you're looking into my patterns, most of my patterns are listed on Ravelry under Janine McCarty Designs. So if that's what you're interested in checking out, or you want to have any questions about any of the things that I showed today, please don't hesitate to drop me a little line. I will put show notes in the bar below in the description box, and I will also try. I've not been super great about getting them in the Ravelry group or on the website, but I do eventually try to get them over there as well. But they'll definitely be down below in the YouTube description box. So thanks for watching, guys. Happy New Year.